standing still. You make what's fake seem so real. You got my heart, that's the deal. You're the perfect start to the rest of my day. They say love is blind, girl.
I wanna follow you. I wanna feel your breath. I want to touch your hand.
I count on you, babe.
I wanna follow you.
Talking about irrelevant. That's just hearsay.
I gotta let that ride. I gotta let it ride. You need to buy Tariq Elite boots, yeah.
But I don't
Tariq Elite boots.
Baby, what I'm trying to say.
You need to buy some Tariq Elite boots, yeah. Tariq Elite boots, yeah. TariqElite.com. 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 Anyway. Oh, man. What's going on, family? What's up, man? Welcome to the Tariq Elite Radio Show. Glad to have everybody tuning in. It is Christmas. I'm doing a Christmas show. I'm doing this show kind of late. I was supposed to do the show yesterday, but I got family in town. I got family here now, but I decided to come down and do a live show for the family. I was going to stream on Ustream, and I was having some technical difficulties, but I'm here and I'm going to make it do what it do. The phone number is 818-850-5404. I'm going to take some calls, ladies and gentlemen. Today's show is brought to you by 7ammovie.com. The movie 7am, talking about group economics. That's going to be in theaters in a couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. January 17th, go to 7ammovie.com, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget to go to TariqElite.com to get that fresh gear, and HiddenColorsFilm.com to get that Hidden Colors 1, 2, and 3 DVD and all that good stuff. But what I'm going to do right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a very quick commercial break, and I mean very quick, and don't go nowhere. And we will be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with Tariq Elite Radio right after these moments.
Fact. In 1986, a document titled Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars was discovered. In it, a plan to control humanity in the form of a third world war. Case Ultra presents a new monthly t-shirt and magazine series exploring a fictional yet possible reality of events based on that document. Seek tragedy and hope unfold in each issue and get a high-quality t-shirt, magazine, and free stickers every month. Sign up now at CaseUltra.com.
Use the coupon code KFLEX and you get 50% off on everything on the site. That's CaseUltra.com.
Arena Players, that's located in downtown Baltimore, Maryland. That's one of the oldest African-American community centers in the country. Arena Players, they're presenting a brand new play called Jitney by famous playwright August Wilson. Now, Jitney is a dramatic comedy set in the 1970s about black men struggling to make ends meet. The show runs from January 9th to January 25th, 2015. Tickets are $18, $12 for students and seniors. Tickets can be purchased at arenaplayersinc.com. That's arenaplayersinc.com.
You're now tuning into the King of Game, Tariq Elite, on Tariq Elite Radio.
You better recognize.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Tariq Elite Radio Show. I am Tariq Elite, also known as Tariq Nasheed. Glad to have everybody tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of stuff we're going to talk about tonight. Let me get a couple of calls because the phone lines are lighting up. Let me get a couple of calls and see who's on the line. What's up? Who's calling?
Hey, Brother Tariq. This is Kim Success in Chicago. How you doing?
I'm beautiful, Kim Success. How you doing, sister?
I am great. I am so excited to be on the call. You talk about group economics, and I sent you a flyer. I wanted to let you know that that a group of us are putting together a school, and we're doing a fundraiser, a 12-hour fundraiser, and well, I sent you the flyer, but we're doing a 12-hour fundraiser, but we're doing group economics. So I'm just really happy that you teach that, and we're putting that into motion. You know, I listened to your call with Hot Double D out of New Orleans.
Yes.
And so people call your show and they talk about stuff, but I'm a person of action.
Yes,
so
indeed.
I'm really excited because I have action going on. So I'm just really excited.
So when you guys plan on doing the school?
Well, the school, we're getting ready to set it up. We're doing an online school, and then we have it in Philadelphia. The online is nationwide, worldwide for everybody. But we have some standalone, which is Philadelphia, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Baltimore, Maryland. And we're calling it Freedom School because we have to go back to basics and teach our kids, our youth, and our adults basics. So we're calling it Freedom School.
Absolutely.
And the radio telethon is December 27th. We're using Blog Talk Radio. And it's from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So we're just doing round-the-clock hour. We're going to be challenging people to donate. You know, if you donate, you'll get a T-shirt or you'll get a mug or, you know, whatever products we have. They can get Hidden Colors because I think I was going to text Double D to see if I could do Hidden Colors where, you know, if you make a certain amount of donation, you can get a Hidden Colors DVD.
Okay.
So we're just putting together the products and that. And I'm just excited because you preach the group economics, and we're doing it. It's the UNIA, ACL, Panther Party, What About Us, the Initiative, Manhood, Race, and Culture. The name of the online school is KIMU. So we get together and we doing this thing because it's way past time, and you preach it, and we putting it into action. So I love you, brother, and I'm going to listen to the show unless you have any questions.
Yes,
I'm just so excited.
There you go. Thank you very much, sister. Love you so much. Okay, I told y'all about being long-winded, family. Y'all got to get to the point. I respect what she's doing. I love what she's doing. Let's get to the point. This is what we doing. This is where you can find me. Keep it pushing. Y'all stop overselling what you got. You had me at hello. All right, all you got to do is say, hey, this is what I got going. This is the website. This is what we need. Contact us here. Get more info here. You got to get in and out with it. But respect to what she's doing because a lot of folks just don't get a forum to really get what they're doing out there. So a lot of people want to shoot a lot of stuff down the pipe when they get an opportunity. What's up, man? Who's calling?
What's up with it? This B from Kansas City, Kansas.
Hey, man. How you doing, fam?
Oh, shit. Chilling. You got a topic tonight?
Hey, man, we're just chopping up game. What's on your mind?
Oh, shit, I got a question for you, man, about my baby mama, man.
Oh, what happened with your baby mom?
Shit, I got an old lady, man. I was with her for about 9 years or so. Shit, she done got in law school or whatever. And, you know, but that don't have nothing to do with the situation. The situation is we got a child together, man, a little black girl. And I want to be there for my daughter, man, as a father. And, you know, she ain't having it. But the thing is I done did a lot, man. I'm with the Ism and some more shit, you know, and I done got caught up in that, you know, I done turned my life around and I'm working. I'm doing everything I can do to be in my daughter's life, man. And I want to know, you know, what's your best advice to, you know, to get back in her life, man, you know, to try to work things out or whatnot.
All right, well, it's a lot of times, man, when dudes are talking about they're trying to get back in their kids' lives and all that, sounds like, man, they want to kind of low-key fuck with the baby mom and all that, too. You know what I'm saying?
No, not necessarily. I really don't even, you know, I just want to be in my daughter's life. I have been in her life, you know, from day one. You know, I used to keep her and all of that.
All right. Now listen,
my life
all right.
All right. Free black man to take care of my daughter. But
all right.
I don't know.
All right. Now listen, brother. Listen. This is what y'all got to do. Y'all got to stop all that bullshit. You ain't let me do nothing. Ain't let me get my daughter thing. Dude, you can stop all that shit overnight, man. Go down to child services or down to the courthouse and just say, look, I need to get scheduled visitation. It's that simple. Just get scheduled visitation where y'all both come in, and it's going to be mandatory for her to come in. You ain't going to be doing all that begging and pleading and getting mad and getting frustrated, and she's saying she's going to let you keep her one day and then changing her mind. All that little silly shit that niggas love doing, going back and forth, that little childish thing that men and women play. Just go down to the courthouse and say, look, this is what I want. I want set visitation days, and they're going to set visitation days and that's going to be all there is to it. That's going to stop that game playing overnight. Because what's going to happen eventually, have they got you on child support yet?
No, I mean, shit, it's an open case on me, but with her being alone and all of that, she didn't had something to where they stopped the child support from coming after me. I don't know what she been doing, man. I really want to get back with her, though, to be honest with you, because she's in the courts, like I said, and she can really fuck me over on some
right,
whole
and that's
other
another
shit,
thing.
man.
A lot of dudes are scared to go ahead and do the court thing because you're scared that they're going to hit you up with the papers. You dig? So it's like a catch.
She already hit me with the paper. I'm about $600, $700 a month strong in just daycare.
Dude.
Daycare alone. And I see her every weekend. You know, that's not even an issue.
Man, if she has already hit you with papers, take your ass down to court Monday morning and go ahead and get visitations and stop playing with this woman. You dig? It's that simple. Brother, you already been hit with paper, so you should have been down to the court getting your visitation days, talking about what she letting you do. Y'all got to stop playing games with these kids and get on the ball, man. Go down to court first thing Monday. I'm talking about Monday morning. You feel me?
Dig it.
All right, man, I'm going to holler at you. Oh, man. Anyway, let's talk about some stuff that's going on in the media, family. You know, a lot of people are talking about Iggy Azalea, that's her name, the white female rapper. A lot of people are complaining about her. You know, I haven't listened or looked at none of the interviews or even heard. I read some of the stories. I know that certain people are doing interviews complaining about her, and I heard that the rapper Q-Tip kind of wrote an open letter to her. And I know T.I. is doing a lot of defending, so I pretty much know the gist of everything without even getting to all the details. I think a lot of people are concerned that Iggy is co-opting the culture, just like a lot of white artists. They'll ride the coattails of a black artist or the coattails of our culture, use it to gain money, fame, notoriety, wealth, and resources, and then turn their backs on this culture, and people are rightfully concerned. But the catch-22 is this. This is the catch-22. The catch-22 is she rode in on the coattails of a very reputable, respected rapper, which is T.I. And we all like T.I. We love T.I. I love T.I. stuff. I'm a big fan of T.I. personally. And I got a lot of respect for T.I. I think T.I. is a real dude. And I respect T.I.'s hustle because it's very rare that the tables are turned. You got a black artist eating off a very prominent white artist. I can't hate on that. I got to pop my collar to T.I. because that's a smart business move. Not mad at him as far as that. So I feel T.I.'s position. And I also feel the position of brothers and sisters within the hip-hop community. Because now we got to make a decision here. This is like a real deep catch-22. Do we co-sign Iggy's career? Which is, let's just call it what it is. It's kind of fuckery, though, if you want to be honest. You know, this Australian chick coming in here with this black scent, and all of a sudden, you know, she's popping off, riding the coattails of the community, but she didn't really pay no dues. That's the thing. That's how the community's looking at it. It's like you just coming in, throwing your little accent down, and bam, you got Grammys and you're getting the platinum records and all that. But it's like, why do we have to use our culture to lift you up and you ain't really doing nothing for the culture? You ain't really speaking out for issues not only in the culture but in the community, but you got this little black scent that you're rapping in. So a lot of people, that's a legitimate gripe that people have, because too many times people use us in the black community to come up and then say, fuck y'all niggas. So that's a legitimate gripe. So I think that's the catch-22. Should we mess up T.I.'s money, or should we allow this person to again mess up our culture, co-opt our culture and water it down for their own gain? Take from our culture, then bounce. So with T.I., he's doing his best to try to defend his artist. I think T.I. might have to take a somewhat of an L on that. Somewhat. I think T.I. needs to stop trying to go out and defend this woman so much. I know that's your artist, but it's going to start making you look kind of janky, Tip, going out and defending this person when they don't do the same for us, by the way. When shit goes down with us, see, the thing is, let's be real honest with it, family. We kind of, and I talked about this on Ustream, we're always jumping in front of bullets for every other group, trying to sacrifice ourselves for their needs, trying to put everybody else's needs in front of our own, and we try to do it as if that's some type of Christian reputable thing, but really it's a slave mentality. That's a holdover from slavery, because slaves put everybody else's interest in front of their own. Taking that bullet for somebody in the dominant society, taking up for them, always out there in the forefront defending them. And they don't do the same for us. How many people in the dominant society have y'all seen defend Bill Cosby? All the friends that he thought he had. Ain't nobody in the dominant society coming out speaking up for him. Not one. That man been around for 1,000,000 years, and not one person in the dominant society has come out and said, hey man, come on, I still like Bill Cosby. Don't say that about Bill. Not fucking one. Hugh Hefner, who was supposed to be his friend, kind of threw him under the bus. Everybody in the dominant society threw Bill's ass under the bus. But the thing is, when somebody in the dominant society comes to our culture and engages in what we find or think is fuckery, it's always one of us trying to jump out there and co-sign them. We got to stop doing that. We got to let them take that L and let them do what they do. And again, I feel Tip, that's his paper. But how is this going to end for the culture? How is this going to turn out for the culture? And look, some of that Iggy chick, her songs are not bad. She got some catchy songs, but the thing, it's like we don't want to be used as a culture no more. And it's not the same as Eminem. See, Eminem, what I give him props, because Eminem paid dues. Eminem paid dues, and Eminem earned his spot, and I respect that. He didn't come in and just co-opt the game. Eminem used to battle dudes and kind of wrap circles around dudes. So Eminem authentically came from the bottom and worked his way up to the top. So that's honorable, that's respectable, so we can rock with the dude. My man started right there in the gutter with it and rapped his way to the top. My man paid his dues. That's why we can respect Eminem to a certain degree. We can respect him. He's authentic. But Iggy, no. Some just chick that's come over from Australia, you throw in a black scent, bam, you get a Grammy. It's like, okay. We ain't hating on your Grammy, but damn, you using the culture, but what you doing for the culture? You dig? Anyway, but I digress, ladies and gentlemen. I do digress. A lot of stuff I want to talk about. Speaking of what's going on in the black community, there's another situation out there near the Ferguson area, out there in Berkeley, Missouri, right outside Ferguson. There was a young man named Antonio Martin. I think that's his name, brother Antonio. 18-year-old kid. He was shot by the police. This time the story is, and by the way, there are a lot of extra protests out there. There were protests out there last night and tonight. So the story is that this teen was coming out of a convenience store with his friend. Police happened to pull up on them. The police thought that they were suspects from something else. They fit a description. A conversation ensued. The police said that Antonio pulled out a gun and pointed it at the cops, so the cops shot him. That's the official story. And there's some holes in that. And more details are coming in because, again, this situation happened yesterday. But from what we know so far, these are the facts. Antonio was coming out of the store. Yes, he was. He had an altercation with the police because the police pulled up on him. There were surveillance cameras, but we don't know exactly what happened. They said on the camera he pulled out a gun. Now, he extended his hand, but there are 3 different camera angles that they've used. All of them, you cannot tell what's in his hand. In none of the angles, you can't tell exactly what's in his hand. But the whole situation looks kind of fishy. because one shot of the surveillance camera, it looks like he has a phone in his hand, like a smartphone. And some people speculate that what he was doing was lifting up the phone to film the cop harassing him. That kind of makes more sense. But again, we don't know the details. Again, we do not know the details. The white supremacists out here, and the suspected white supremacists, are going nuts at this moment. They're like, oh, that nigga got what he deserved, that thug got what he deserved, and that's what we're going to talk about later. We're going to talk about code words of the white supremacists. But a lot of them already on social media, the white supremacists are having a field day. As usual, they celebrate when African people are killed. But when you look at the scenario, what happened with this young man, let's see what makes sense. So he's coming out of a convenience store. He just happens to have a gun on him. He happens to have a gun on him in the middle of the night, just for whatever reason. He's not going to rob anybody. He's not going to a robbery. That area, Berkeley, has a pretty low murder rate. There's like one person a year gets murdered out there, so there's not a threat. But he's walking around with this gun. Okay. Let's just look at the logic here. He's walking around this area at the store with a gun for whatever reason. The cops pull up on him, question him, and for whatever reason, he calmly pulls his gun out and aims it at the cop. And he doesn't shoot. He aims the gun at the cop. According to their narrative, he doesn't shoot. He gets shot. Now, people also say that they took pictures at the location and there was no gun at first. Then later on, a few minutes later, there was a gun there. So that looks suspicious. They also left him alive for about 30 minutes. He did not die immediately. So he lay there, bleeding, for about 30 minutes, and they did not allow medical help. Because basically it seems like they were letting him die out so that he couldn't tell his side of the story. That's the protocol right now with a lot of black males getting shot by these white supremacist law enforcement officials. They kill you and they have to kill you, they have to shoot to kill. So that you can't sue the city, so you can't go back and tell your story. Dead man gives no testimony. So when you're dead, they can create whatever testimony they want to create. They can paint any picture of you they want to paint. And the surveillance cameras just conveniently don't have close-ups of what was in his hand. None of the angles. Also, the cops had body cams on, and the cops just conveniently didn't have their body cams on. Also, the St. Louis area, they're known for planting guns on cops. I want you guys to go to YouTube, type in St. Louis police try to plant gun on man. There was a story earlier this year we put on Facebook where a cop was trying to get him to plant a gun on somebody in St. Louis. So now we got all of these factors in. The St. Louis police is known for planting guns. So now it's not a stretch to believe that their asses put a gun out there. So I'm looking at all the angles. I don't trust nothing these law enforcement officials say. And also they have a track record of putting known white supremacists witness testimony to grand juries. None of them should be trusted. You should question everything. But the thing is, this whole thing about him walking around with a gun and the cops ask him questions and all of a sudden you pull a gun out. And I ask people on Twitter, what sense does that make for somebody to just pull a gun out calmly on a cop? And you didn't rob nobody, you're not doing anything wrong, but you just pull a gun out on a cop and you ain't in the middle of a crime. Just think common sense for a minute. Now, the white supremacists are going to just say, okay, that's what thugs do. He's a thug, meaning you're a nigger, but that's what niggas do. But logically, who would pull out a gun on a cop? You ain't doing nothing wrong. You didn't rob nobody. You didn't do anything. But you're just standing there talking to a cop. You decide to pull a gun on him. And what were you going to do? You going to pull a gun on a cop for what? That's a death wish. That's literally a death wish. So this young man, I don't assume he had a death wish. But see, the white supremacists will lead you to believe that Negroes are just dumb. They do dumb things. Me personally, I think the young dude pulled out a phone. And that could be wrong. I don't know the guy. I don't know if he was on drugs. I don't know. I'm just thinking logically. Logically, that don't make sense. Logically, that don't make sense. So let's say he pulled the gun out and shot the cop. What the fuck was he gonna do? What was he gonna do? That's suicide. Just to randomly walk down the street, a cop stop you, you shoot him. What are you gonna do? You're not gonna run off to another country. You're gonna go to your mama's house. They're gonna lock you up for life. So that was suicide for him to do that. Logically, it would make no sense for him to do that. Just think about that for a minute. And black folks, don't put on your white supremacist goggles, because a lot of times black people start thinking like the white supremacists think. And the white supremacists, they believe anything negative about black folks, so I pay them no mind. There's the white supremacist trolls. They've been hitting me up on Twitter all day with their rhetoric, and I'm going to talk about some of those code words that they like to use, by the way. Let me get a couple of calls before I get into that. What's up? Who's calling?
What's up, King Flex? This is Jay calling from Chicago.
Jay from Chicago. How you doing, Jay?
Doing good. Nice to talk with you.
All right, man. You in bed, Jay?
Basically, I'm just coming in a little late on your subject.
Okay, but I'm saying you sound extra comfortable, and it's making me nervous, brother. Are you laying in bed, man? You sound like you got a pillow between your legs, looking at the Lifetime channel or some shit. You all right?
Oh no, I was just coming in from work. So
okay.
I'm not laid in bed.
Okay, good, because you just sounded real funny style. But go ahead, brother.
No, anyway, I just want to say you got a good show, man, and a lot of your game really helped me out in what I was doing in my whole life. So just want to give a shout out.
Okay, man, much respect, man. Thank you, brother. I swear this nigga sound like his ass is in the bed with a plate of hot Cheetos looking at the damn view or something. I just don't like the way that brother sounded, man. Y'all, when y'all call me, man, y'all just kind of butchered up a little bit, man. God damn. All right, I digress. By the way, I'm doing a lecture out there in London, England. I'll be in London, England in March, the beginning of March. We're getting everything finalized now. I'm going to give you all the details on that. It's going to be huge. We're going to make it do what it do out there. Y'all better come out and see that, all my brothers and sisters out there, because they've been wanting me to come out there for a minute. Also, I'm doing another lecture in Chicago in March, too. I'll give you guys details on that pretty soon as well. One thing that I want to talk about, I was looking at, speaking of the Antonio Martin situation out there in the Berkeley area, there was some live footage, streaming footage of what was happening out there last night. And one thing I noticed is that right when the brother Antonio was killed, his body was still out there, and crowds were forming, and there were a lot of people who were getting riled up. A lot of people were getting riled up out there. A lot of people were challenging the cops. And it's very important for us to get a code, because I'm looking at some of the behavior out there, and people, again, are emotional. You don't know what to do. But it's time for us to get a code. We have no code. When stuff happens to us, we're just all over the place. We get emotional. I mean, people were just doing all types of stuff. The cops got on code. When that young man was killed, the police started lining up in like an L formation. They were lining up in front of the store where the kid was killed. And the cops had stone looks on their faces. They were stone-faced. And there were black brothers and sisters walking up to the cops, yelling at them, "Why are you doing this? Why y'all keep doing this to us? Why?" Just yelling at the cops. And I'm like, that's not what we need to do. Yelling at cops is pointless. Oh, we need a code, family. Standing out there yelling at soldiers in the middle of a war, what's that gonna do? They're gonna listen to you instead of their superiors who are telling them to be out there having war against you. This is war. Black folks don't understand. This is war. War is being waged on you. Yelling at soldiers is not going to stop them from waging war and doing their job. You got to get on code. You need a code, family. They didn't know what to do. And also, and I respect their ambition. I'm not trying to shit on the brothers and sisters because, again, I'm glad that some people are out there bringing attention to what's going on. But the end game ain't just protesting, because a lot of people just get caught up on the protesting. Like that's the end game. And again, we got to get to economic development. We got to get to economic empowerment. I know that sounds like a broken record, but that's something that we need to stay ready so we don't have to get ready about. Because this shit is going to keep happening. And I'm going to keep saying the same thing. It's going to keep happening because we are not ready financially. We don't protect ourselves financially. We don't have an economic base to kind of move politicians and deal with the police system economically. It takes economics to do that. It takes group economics and it takes the group code to do that. And looking at some of the live footage out there where the young man was shot, his body was still out there basically, and some people started fighting the cops. Now, I can understand that. I'm like, if you're going to go in, they're just getting it all in. I get that. And some people were yelling at the cops. And there were some groups of young dudes just standing around laughing and joking. That's the thing that bothered me. There were a group of young men, I'm looking at the live footage, and they were just standing not too far from the cops and all that, but they were like in their own little circle, laughing and joking and snapping on each other. That little childish nonsense has to go. You're in the middle of a damn war, and y'all think it's fun and games. Y'all out there joking and laughing. There's people literally killing you. There's a dead body sitting there that could be any one of you. And y'all out here laughing and joking and giggling like this is fun and games. See, the thing is, black folks, we got to get off this thing where we all get together to have a good time. That's this whole laughing to not cry nonsense that we get on. We all have to get together in a room and basically start partying up and having a good time. And it ain't about partying up and having a good time all the time. Sometimes you got to get together and come together with a code and come together with a purpose. Because again, when people get together, they don't have an agenda, they don't have a code. Shit is just haywire. But you got to get off that plantation mentality. You know, somebody just got beat, just like the movie 12 Years a Slave. There's a scene where the lead character is being semi-hung in a tree. He was hung, but his feet were like lightly on the ground. And while he's dangling from a tree, there's other black people around the plantation kind of playing and singing. Just like whatever. They're literally just playing and singing, goofing off on the plantation while this guy is hanging. This whole helpless, let's just laugh and joke to ignore our pain, to ignore our situation. Now, there was one young lady who snuck out there and gave him some water. And that's another thing, man. I see a lot of sisters out here in the forefront where some of these brothers should be. Because I was looking at a lot of the footage and some of these sisters were like stepping to the cops on that rah-rah shit. And some of these dudes were sitting around laughing. That's some shit we can't have. The women out here fighting the battles for you. That's something that you can't have. Y'all fight together, you fight in the forefront too. But we got to get serious about what's happening out here. This is war, and brothers got to get serious. Playtime is over. See, black folks think that we're going to sit up on this plantation and just get plantation privileges and things are cool with no code. It's the code of the plantation. Just like now, all across the country in economically deprived areas, there are a lot of black folks who basically, you got whole families that's getting some kind of check. You go to school, act crazy, you get a check. You get ADD, ADHD, you get a check. Your mama acting crazy, she gets some kind of disability check. You got whole families out here in some of these areas that's getting some kind of bullshit ass check. And you think that you can just sit up in these little hoods getting this bullshit check with the family and everything is going to be cool. These race soldiers disguising themselves as cops, they're shooting you first. They're getting the broke ass people first. So first, you got to get up off whatever government assistance you are on, because that's not the come up. You better educate yourself. You better get on code and then create an economic base. Get away from dusty niggas. That's code one. Code one for everybody in the black community who's trying to be progressive. Get away from dusty niggas and hood rats. Because at this point, dusty niggas and hood rats are going to get you killed. Not by one of them, because black crime across the country is actually down. Now the law enforcement is going to end up killing you. It's that serious. So that's code one. Get away from dusty niggas and hood rats. And also, you got to understand the codes of the white supremacists. That's the main thing. Our code is fully understanding white supremacy. And the number one code we should be on, always look and see how white supremacy benefits from everything that happens. Because white supremacy is the common denominator. Now, a lot of black people are afraid to even say white supremacy because they think that they're going to offend some of their white friends or some of their potential white benefactors, somebody white who's going to give them a job. So a lot of white black people are afraid to say white supremacy. And another thing, what happens is the white supremacists, they get on code, and one of their codes is to deceive you. And that's another code that black people need to learn. Stop listening and believing everything a suspected white supremacist tells you. That's the black folks have that bad. Black people believe every single damn thing that suspected white supremacists tell them, and 99% of the shit they tell you is total garbage. Is a lie for the most part. It's a lie or a half-truth at best. I mean, damn near everything that comes out of their mouths, and black folks believe it hook, line, and sinker. Just look at social media, for example. Look at some of the code words they use. See, one of the rules of white supremacy is to never talk about white supremacy logically. That's one of their codes. When it comes to white supremacy, never talk about it logically, meaning don't talk about racism logically. So whenever you see these television shows that say, hey, we're going to all get together, we're going to discuss race today on whatever show this is. We're going to have a discussion about race. So they pretend that they're about to have this honest, logical discussion about race. They do this almost every other day on television. But what they do, the white supremacists, they rig the whole conversation. They get one black person who's really going to talk about racism. But what they do, they make sure that there's some type of radical white person who's there with nothing to lose. And they're going to make sure that there's somebody from the coon train on there too. And also what the white supremacists are going to do, they're going to give you a very limited amount of time to discuss, quote unquote, racism. So what they do, they start the program, which is going to last about 5 minutes. Then they have the black person start to state his case. A few seconds in, the white extremist or the white radical person with nothing to lose is going to interject and start throwing out, what about black on black crime, and start talking over him, throwing out a whole bunch of racist, white supremacist bullet points. Well, there's no family values. Black people ain't got no family values. All these black people committing crime. And usually it's somebody, like I said, in the dominant society who has nothing to lose, or somebody whose career is over. Like they'll get somebody, like there was a guy named Frank Taffy that they would have on all the talk shows talking about George Zimmerman. Now Frank Taffy was this white guy. He was a nobody, but his claim to fame, he was quote unquote George Zimmerman's neighbor, which I don't think he was. I think they just said that just to get him on television. And he was this white supremacist who would get on TV and just make all these crazy comments about black folks. And just yell out all of these white supremacist talking points. Now, they stopped putting him on television when he was on another radio show. Then he went all out white supremacist, started talking about niggas this and niggas that. So they had to distance themselves from him then. But what they'll do, they'll also get a person like Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York. And lately, they got him running around making all these crazy comments about black people. Why? Because Rudy Giuliani's political career is over. So, he's not getting elected to nothing else no more. So now he's found a money-making scheme, which is to regurgitate white supremacy. And Ted Nugent, too. He's another guy. He was a former rocker, musician. His career is dead, so now he regurgitates white supremacy. The conservatives have him on all the shows. So they'll let these people run their mouths, and then they'll put the camera on the coon train. They'll bring out some random Negro who's saying the same, well, what about black on black crime? We be doing too much. We need to do better. We need to pull our pants up. What we do is terrible. They bring out the coon train, and then they go to a commercial and end the show with nothing solved, nothing logically discussed. And that's all designed as part of the code. White supremacy is meant to never discuss logically. My film, Hidden Colors 3, was the only film that's worldwide release that logically talked about white supremacy. The only book, only DVD, the only film that talked about white supremacy in a realistic way. But the white supremacists, they have codes, and they use certain code words, and you'll see a lot of these code words on social networking sites. For example, whenever you see somebody start talking about Al Sharpton, you'll see that in a lot of message boards. When we're talking about race, or when the conversation is about race, they're talking about all of these police shootings. You'll see a lot of suspected white supremacists talk about, well, Al Sharpton, that Al Sharpton is a race baiter. Al Sharpton is this. Al Sharpton should get this done to him. Al Sharpton is a code word, family. Al Sharpton is a code word for black people. Because we all know that Al Sharpton is not our leader. Nobody in the black community has ever said that Al Sharpton is their leader. When shit happens, Al Sharpton just kind of shows up, and the media follows him because that's their guy. A lot of black people are saying, hey, we don't want Al Sharpton around what we got going. Hey, don't bring Al Sharpton around here. A lot of folks are distancing themselves. Even with Jesse Jackson, they used to do Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, but so many people have said, hey, we ain't fucking with Jesse, so they can't use Jesse no more. So Al Sharpton is the go-to code word for black folks. Now, another code word they use is thug. And we know that. Thug is the new nigga. Thug is any black man under the age of 25. Possibly older, but any black man under the age of 25, when they say thug, that's who they're talking about. It don't mean criminal, because it used to mean criminal, but it means black person, and the word thug is to criminalize them. Because black people, in order to enslave black people, according to the 13th Amendment, you have to be criminalized. So they have to use criminalizing terms, like thug. Thug is just a term that they use to criminalize all young black men. No matter if you have a criminal record or not. They call Trayvon Martin a thug. He never had a criminal record, grew up with his mom and dad. Mike Brown, he didn't have a criminal record. Jordan Davis didn't have a criminal record. They called him a thug. Grew up with his mom and dad, so all that shit about there's so many thugs because there's no fathers. All these kids grow up with fathers, but they still get called thugs. So all young black men are thugs. So understand the code words. And this is how they communicate with each other. Also, when they use terms like, and this is very common on Twitter, when they start talking about, well, Democrats and conservatives and progressives and leftists, when they start trying to talk about that, that's a code for let's not focus on white supremacy. That's just a deflection tactic. That's all it is. It's nothing but a deflection tactic. And again, the white supremacists, their code is to do anything to get you to not focus on white supremacy. That's their job. and I was teaching people how to deal with these trolls and their code on Twitter by using your own code. Your code is to stick and focus on what you need to focus on, which is white supremacy. Never let them take you off focus. That's your code. You can engage in some of the semantics or whatever, but always bring it back to what the focus is, which is white supremacy. Because they'll start the suspected white supremacists, they've been hitting me up like, Tariq, oh, I don't like the term white supremacist. That term makes me uncomfortable. And I say, well, damn it, white supremacy makes me uncomfortable. The system makes me uncomfortable. The system makes all of us who are subject to white supremacy very uncomfortable. Well, they say, well, Tariq, it's not about white supremacy. This is about police brutality. All races get beaten by the cops. No, all races do not get beaten by the cops all the time. On a weekly basis, legally, when you're unarmed. No, that's not true. As a matter of fact, we're the only ones who are repeatedly getting killed and we're not armed. There are white people who are armed and they deal with the cops and they don't get killed. There were 2 cases this week. There was a case, I think, in Illinois, and there was a case in Philly. One case in Philly, this white guy shot inside of a bar. The police came, he shot at the cops. They took his gun and arrested him. This happened Monday in Philadelphia. Look it up. This guy shot at cops, white dude. They wrestled him and took his gun and charged him. Walked away alive. So when people talk about all that, you deserve to die if you pull out a gun on a cop. And I've asked people several times, did this white guy deserve to die? And they never answer. There was another case. Well, there were 2 other cases, as a matter of fact. There was one other case somewhere in Illinois. I can't think of the name. If y'all email me, I'll get the name for you. I had it on my computer, but this stuff happened so fast. Another white guy. This dude, and I like to give you guys proof. If y'all email me at kflex4, the number 4, life@yahoo.com, I'll give you the link if you need it. But this guy, white dude, got into a fight, I think at a club or a bar, then got into a fight with 2 cops, got into a fight with firefighters. Then he needed medical help. The ambulance came. Then he got into a fight with the people in the ambulance. And they still arrested him. Took him alive. They didn't kill him. They didn't call him a thug and nothing. None of that stuff. Now, when a white person does get killed for being armed, usually they be on some Rambo shit. They don't just kill random white people. There was another case in San Diego. It was a white dude had a gun pointed at the cops. They took him alive. These white guys shoot up movie theaters. They take them alive. They shoot up daycare centers. They take them alive. They shoot up schools all the time. They take them alive if they don't kill themselves. This one guy out here in, I think, Salinas, California, this dude was shooting at people on the street, white dude. And this was all on the dash cam. Somewhere in Northern California. I think it was Salinas, California, but the dude was, the dash cam showed him shooting at people. Then he started shooting at the cops in the windshield, got in his car, drove off, shot at cops while he was driving off, went back to the spot where he was shooting, started shooting at more cops. Then they finally had to kill him. So the white folks got to be on that Rambo rah-rah shit before they get shot at. We jaywalk and get choked out, shot, killed, and people say we deserve it. So again, we have to look at the deception they try to run on us. It's 2 justice systems in this country. Don't let anybody fool you. One for us and the other one's called white supremacy. And again, people have been hitting me up. Well, Tariq, it's not about white supremacy. It's about Marxism. It's about the ruling class versus the plebeian class. They come up with all types of rhetoric and bullshit to get you off white supremacy. Some people were saying, well, Tariq, this is about rich and poor. Somebody actually told me, well, Tariq, rich black people don't get killed. You don't see Beyonce getting killed by cops. Well, the thing is, Beyonce has bodyguards around her, so she's pretty much protected. You understand? And there's constant cameras around her. But if we want to get real technical, there are a lot of wealthy entertainers who are followed by cops all the time. You got a hip-hop task force if we want to go there. So black entertainers are followed by cops all the time. And also there was law enforcement around Biggie and Tupac when they died, but I digress. There was FBI following them when they died, but I digress. Okay, I won't even go there. I won't even open that up. But people say again, well, Tariq, it's about rich versus poor. The poor whites and this poor blacks, and poor whites get treated bad. You don't see poor white people getting shot legally on a weekly basis while you're unarmed. You don't see it. It just doesn't happen. You might find a rare case of a white sacrifice, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't negate the fact that the war is against black people. And another thing, family, don't let people try to trick you into believing that they're not practicing white supremacy just because they're buddied up or hugged up with some black person. There was a couple of white ladies who had pictures of them all in Africa with children, and there was another white lady. She said, she was telling me, well, I'm 61 and I got a whole bunch of black children I raised. She has a whole bunch of adopted black kids. And this woman was spewing some of the same white supremacist rhetoric that all these other people were spewing, falling right in line with all the other white supremacists. She was the one who was getting offended by me saying the word white supremacist. Like, oh no, all of us are not that way. No. I said, ma'am, I never said that all people in the dominant society are white supremacists. I never said that. But there are white supremacists who are running the show because we are in a system of white supremacy, and you non-white supremacists, you haven't done anything about it to dismantle that system. Like, oh, that just makes me feel like you're putting all of us in the same category. I'm like, wait a minute, because whenever a black person does something, y'all immediately put us in the whole category together. It's all of a sudden when a black person does it, it's black culture's fault. Oh, you black folks, it's your culture that creates this. Y'all fatherless and you're motherless and y'all ain't raising your kids right. It's the whole black community to blame when somebody black does something. But when white supremacy is criticized, all of a sudden it's like, oh, don't judge me. Oh, don't judge me like based on the actions of others. Don't work that way. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And there was another guy who hit me up tonight. This guy, another white supremacist, sitting up here bragging about his black girlfriend. He sent me pictures of him and his black girlfriend. He has a whole bunch of pictures, and I put this on Facebook. He was like, well, Tariq, me and my black girlfriend think that Antonio was a no-good thug who got what he deserved. He's sitting up there with a black woman. Go back and listen to my show called The Negro Bedwench. You'll see what I'm talking about. But I might not even put her in the Negro Bedwench category, because the woman he was with, she looked like somebody he done picked up in Africa, because he's like, this dude, he's like one of those international tricks. He goes to all these little third world countries tricking his money off. So, you know, the chick that he was all up on, he was just probably making it up or whatever, because he looks like a big international trick. So I'll give that sister the benefit of the doubt. I won't throw her under the bedwench bed so fast, because again, these white supremacists are sick and illogical. But the point is, man, we got to get a code of conduct, because the white supremacists, they get a code of conduct. They will lay it with you. They'll raise black children and still have a code to maintain white supremacy. And they fool you into believing they're liberal and they're compassionate and they are all about equality as long as you are in an inferior position under them. I'm always going to focus on white supremacy until we get a system of justice to replace that. Anyway, y'all, that's been today's episode of the Tariq Elite Show. Man, I hope everybody have a great Christmas, a great holiday. I'm going to be out of the country next week. I will broadcast from wherever I am. I know I'm going to Hawaii first and some other spots. I will keep you guys posted on that. Don't forget to go to HiddenColorsFilm.com to get the Hidden Colors 1, 2, and 3 DVD. Y'all have a good night, good weekend. I'ma holla.